is what you got for me.
Durag Diaries, yo, what's good, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Tottenham transfer news. You guys know what time it is by now. We get into everything Tottenham, everything transfers. And today, I'm not going to lie, it's been a little bit of a slower day than usual. Not too much news has been released over the last day or so, but I thought it's fine regardless. We're going to come on here. We're going to talk with the people in the chat, them, catch up, see if there's anything I haven't heard. We're going to discuss. We're going to go through and speaking about transfers together. So make sure you smash the like button on your way in. That should be a standard by now. If you haven't already, make sure, as you can see above my head, road to 5K. We are on the road to the 5K, people. So real close to what are we on right now? Let me check real quick. Let me check where's the map, because I feel like we're moving. We're slowly, steadily moving into that 3K settings. It's been like a month or so since 2K. Moving closely and closer to 3K as the weeks go on. 2.665. So we're getting closer. We're getting closer. Just another 35 away from the 2.7 and then another 300 to go. So 335. Make sure you're sharing this. Tell a friend, tell their Marge, tell their granddad. This is the place to be, not just for Tottenham, but for all transfers on in the Premier League and in the world of football. So yeah, man, make sure you're subscribing. Let me drop the link in the chat for the people them to there we go. So the people them know where to catch the memberships. If you want to become a member, you can go to the pinned message in the chat now. Become a delinquent, become a descender, become a real supporter of the channel. Big up to Mr. Udang, says big up Jords. Big up to my guy D-Gyal, got marinated and cooked by You're Not Gonna Lie on Saeed's channel. Yeah, man, D-Gyal had to firm it. He had to get done that one time. Trying to sit here and tell me about standards of Tottenham and so on and so forth, but doesn't realize the standard of his club doesn't hold up and match the same level. We've been seeing Arsenal fans accept that second place finish for far too long now. For far too long, but they want to sit here and act like it's not the case. But yeah, man, look, typical stuff with the Arsenal fan base. My phone's getting spammed. Give me 2 seconds. Sorry about that. Just my mum calling me. Usually for an emergency, but definitely not the case this time. You'd think so. She should know that Durag Diaries is live, because I've definitely told my mum to tell her friends to make sure they're subscribed. So you know them ones that like. But Kudus seen at Spurs. Did I write seen? I wrote keen. Keen on Spurs. Keen. Magic Madison, I don't know if you're confused or I'm confused, but you definitely can't read. It says Madison Kudus keen on Spurs. But let me just get the transfer update that we did see today from West Ham. What's that account name called? West Ham Central. Who tends to be one of the most reliable West Ham transfer news places. But as we can see here, let me just present my screen for the people. Is Tottenham are seriously working for Mohamed Kudus and are speaking to his camp. Chelsea remains interested and is keeping a close eye on the situation with one other club. But let's see what they decide. Race still open. So yeah, look, as we can see there from what we're reading, the race is still open. He may still end up at another club, but Tottenham are very keen on Kudus, and he is keen on Spurs, with talks between the clubs heating up over the last couple of days. We have just constantly been seeing updates, whether it's from Fabrizio or some other people, that Kudus is also keen on the move to Spurs. We already know that it's been heavily reported he wants his way out of West Ham. He's not been happy at West Ham. The last year, he's been wanting to move, and ultimately, he's in a position now where a few clubs are in for him. He's going to push for that move. He did sign up to new agents to make sure that they could facilitate this move and help him get the deal that he wanted. So Tottenham are pressing forward with this deal, and it looks very likely that Kudus could end up at Tottenham. But as we know, the one club that is interested that could potentially take him away from us, as we have seen in the past, is that of the Chelsea Blues. Chelsea have taken players away from us in the past, in the likes of Willian. And we've seen them do it to plenty of other clubs, whether it be Lavia, whether it be Caicedo. They seem to get the better over a lot of teams due to the deals they're offering. They just managed to take these players away from other clubs. For this deal in particular, it looks like Chelsea need to facilitate for this Madueke deal to happen before the Kudus deal does go ahead. He's obviously a right winger who's preferred off the right-hand side himself. And also, I think Chelsea have that issue of they don't want to be spending too much money without bringing in funds. So how Chelsea tend to do their windows is they buy a few players, then they sell some players, then they buy a few players, then they sell some players. So at this moment in time, with them already signing 3 or 4 players, it looks like they're in that phase of where they're going to start to focus on outgoings and sales, Madueke being one of them, and Kunku and Felix being some of the other attacking outlets that could make way and bring in the funds that could facilitate this deal. So Chelsea look like they're making moves to try and facilitate this Kudus deal happening, but Spurs need to wake up and make sure they go and get this done as soon as possible. We're very underwhelming signing if it does go through, mate. What makes you think that? You tell me. What makes you think that? But I mean, do you really need to work hard to get a player who only scored 5 goals? There's no race, mate. But and this is the thing, Magic Madison. You can't just focus on the GA outlet for a player that plays on the wing. You can't do that. For a player that plays on the wing, you can look at their GA and it can give you a good example as to see what their attacking output is. But also for a player like Kudus, you can probably look at where he's been at West Ham and some of the, the times he's been unfortunate not to get more goals or more assists due to the players that they've got in their team, not at the same level that you would have at Tottenham. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, hey, look, he didn't perform consistently across the season. You are right about that. He only got 5 goals in the Premier League last year. But how many times did he play in his preferred position last year? I think he played 5 times on the right wing. Majority of his games came on the left-hand side or in the middle where he's not preferred to play. So when you're looking at it that way, there are reasons as to why his performance levels dropped last year, away from the fact that they had a new manager and that new manager was pretty much shit. It's just that new manager was shit. Didn't get it to work for any of their attackers. So you can't get onto him and be like, yeah, look, he's the only attacker that didn't work. Most of their attackers didn't work. Only Jared Bowen. And Jared Bowen's been one player that's just been consistently able to perform no matter what manager has been working underneath them. But ask any West Ham fan about his bad attitude problems. So the attitude problems thing, and we've seen this in the past with Tottenham players. I don't want to hear about what fans say about attitude problems. I want to hear about what the clubs say. I want to hear about what the players around him say, because far too often, seeing players like Jed Spence has been painted out in the newspapers to say that he's got a bad attitude. When you speak to Spence, you hear Spence speak and you hear him in the interviews, and even when you heard Ange talk about it, He has not got a bad attitude. There's nothing to suggest he has a bad attitude. It was just stories that came from other clubs or stories that were made because Neil Warnock didn't like how he took the pictures and how he was about his last final moments in Nottingham Forest. So I'm just looking at this and I'm like, yeah, bad attitude just means it's a load of rubbish. To me, maybe it might be a colour thing. That's what maybe it might be a colour thing. I don't know. You let me know. Don't know if people can notice though. I can't even lie. Let me know if the quality is up because man did up the camera quality recently. The last couple of days, I was thinking we're doing all these streams, yeah, doing all these streams every single day. Man's got to make sure the quality is up because I'm looking at myself and I'm making clips, and in these clips, I'm seeing bare pixels upon the screen all over my face and that. And I was like, nah, we have to upgrade the things. Man can't be looking at myself doing pixels and all. Man need to be clear as day. You guys can see, man, even have a little zoom in, zoom, like, you know what I mean? Like, man could zoom in, zoom out a little. You know, when we're talking about certain transfers, we can do a little so we've upgraded over here, you know what I mean? We're investing. All you guys that are putting in the work to watch me, we're putting in the work to make sure you guys get the best quality stream. So I am ensuring that you guys are gonna stay ahead on that side of things. But good morning to our fellow Spurs. Mo Drula says morning, Jords and DRD chat. Not gonna lie, Drula. The Mo may be taken away from your name. It may be taken away. Because I remember when you said a certain player was coming to Tottenham. I remember when you said, I said, look, who's going to come between these players? I said, which deal is going to happen? Now, obviously, like, we have to take away pinch of salt. You're the Spurs Mo, not the Premier League Mo. So the news coming from Spurs could have been a different thing. It could have been a different thing. But what we have seen this morning is the news that pretty much confirms he will no longer be coming Tottenham, but that Eberechi Eze is pretty much open to joining Arsenal and he's attracted by the chance for his future. Arsenal informed on release clause details and more. But Eberechi Eze has opened the doors for this move to Arsenal. And it looks like he might be on his way over there, Drula. So Eberechi to Tottenham. Maybe you sold a man dreams. But no. Look, I think this is going to be a good move for Arsenal. It's going to be a good move for Arsenal. Tottenham have definitely missed out on a good player here. And it's one of those ones that we can't be mad about. I think we've moved on to a better player in my eyes, but for some people, maybe not. But a very good option if you don't think he's better, or a very good alternative in Kudus. But Eze wants Arsenal another shit window incoming. Again, like Elijah, I think a lot of people have been sold on Eze because we were told Eze's coming Tottenham. It was just like everyone got laser focused into the fact that, Eze is the only player that can improve Tottenham. Oh, I want Eze so bad. Oh, Eze's the only one. When it's like, no, there's so many players out there that give you what Eze's got. But people are just sold on Eze because we've been told it's going to be Eze. I'm actually at the point of where I'm like, I'm past Eze. I'm actually quite fine with not getting Eze. There's actually quite a few reasons as to why Spurs probably didn't choose Eze. And I understand why Tottenham didn't go for Eze. Like, I'm looking at this deal and I'm like, Kudus is the better deal. It's the better deal. But you'll be sold within time. You'll be sold within time. But Magic Madison goes back to saying, of course he's keen. He's only scored 5 goals last season, and that somehow justifies 165 grand a week from Levy Low. He's a rubbish player who plays with his head down. He's worse than what we have already. Not an improvement. Bozo Gene player and a big waste of money. Please, Chelsea, come and take Kudus. He's rubbish. I'll be honest, Madison. I don't know if your reasons are actually football reasons because, again, I can't understand how you think he's not better than what we currently have. He's better than Tel, better than Sonny, he's better than Odobert. He's better than all the players that we currently have on the wing. He's even better than Kulu. Like he's better than all the players we currently have on our wings. So if you think that he's not better than Eze, that's fine. I could totally take that as a statement, and I don't think it's a bad take. But when you're talking about him just being worse than everyone that we've currently got, that's just lies. That is just lies. And we do have a right winger. We have Brennan Johnson. We have Kulusevski. We have players that play on the right wing. He's just better than those options. That's all it is. And Eze would have probably... This is the thing. People wanted to bring Eze in. But if I actually asked the people how you wanted to use Eze, not many people would have come back with an explanation. Because do you know what? I'm starting to see he's a little bit of a fraud. A little bit of a fraud. We're gonna have to start dissecting E's and start to take away his opinion with a pinch of salt. I'm gonna have to start doing that, E. I'm gonna have to start doing that because it's not making sense. It's not adding up. 2 + 2 is not equaling 4. Because who do you want at Tottenham if you don't want Kudus? You said you didn't really want Eze before. And it's like, where was you going to... If you did want Eze, where was you going to use Eze? If these aren't the players you want, who do you want? Because there's not many players at this level on the market. And you can't tell me, I want Mbomo. We didn't get Mbomo, so we shouldn't get anyone else. You've got to move on. So you've got to be happy about some other targets. You can't just be happy about 1 or 2 players. They're sounding a bit like Hotspur J Cave, or I forgot what his name is now, to be fair. J from the Cave. Sounding a bit like J. That's what it is. So I don't know if you and Jay have been colluding behind closed doors, but things are going on. Things are going on that are not making sense. Not making sense. But big up to my guy Views on Sport. Make sure you guys check out the Under the Lens that we done on his channel the other day. We speak a bit more about how I actually became a Tottenham fan and so on. Very similar to that of the show I done with Hooked before about the fan. They have very similar concepts. So if you want to learn more about how I actually got into watching Tottenham, being a Spurs and football fan, and slip a little bit more about me and on that side of things, go to Views and Sport and watch that Under the Lens, man. We've signed so many players with low-end product, mate, and here we are doing it again. This is just Maddison. You're lying now. He has a low-end product, cool, but it say he's not an intelligent player. It's just lies, man. If you watch the player, you can see that his football IQ is there. He's a consistent headless chicken, and he'll be cutting into Maddison's. This is exactly what it is. You're just mad that he's You're just mad that you're holding on to Maddison, and you're like, oh, he's gonna take into Maddison's space. Eze would have got into Maddison's space. Maddison, quite frankly, doesn't need to start in this team. If you bring Kudus in, we don't need Maddison. You put Kudus on the right, you put Kulusevski in the middle, jobs are good. You know them way there. You can put Tel out on the right, Odobert on Odobert out on the left. Fine by that. That's a good attack. That's an attack that I can be happy with. Maddison in there he doesn't move me. He doesn't move me. But read your instructions. Who do you want as a CDM? Now, CDM is probably one of the positions where it's a bit tough right now for me to say who necessarily is my number one options. Because I think there's so many players out there, and depending on the profile of player that Thomas Frank wants, depends on who we sign. Now, I've seen players like Richard Rios that I'd be happy with, that I think is pretty damn good. I've also seen players like Angelo Stiller that I'd be happy with. Mr. Udang pointed out a player like a Gume, who could be another option. I've also been told a bit more about Ravella. I've seen Ravella play a few times, but haven't watched him that closely for Lazio. So, again, there's a few players in these positions that I would accept, and the numbers look good, the data looks good. It just depends on what we want in the CDM. And I feel like CDMs are always dependent on the system. Like, you can have a CDM that isn't at a mad high quality level, but in this system, he works. So it depends on what Frank is looking for me, really. But camera quality better than Kudus quality. Fair enough. Richard Rios, Locatelli, man said Oliver Skip. If you're asking me out of all the three, Locatelli's a good option, but I'd go for Richard Rios. If I had to choose between the three, I'd go for Richard Rios, but Locatelli is another good option. Oliver Skip, you're having a joke. Definitely having a joke with the Oliver Skip stuff. Raising the levels, bro. Come on. elevation. That's what I'm all on, man. I'm always on elevation. So you'll probably see new things in the background and stuff consistently because we're always trying to make sure you guys are getting the best footage and the best viewership. You know what I mean? Trying to make sure you guys got the best views. But Leon winger Georgia's Meat Cat 2 Daisy is brilliant. 17 goals and 11 assists. So he's actually a striker. He's not a winger. But I get why you'd want to get him. I know a few people said because Leon's going down, he's going to be valued at a lot less. This does seem like a Spurs opportunistic signing. For that price, I'd be happy to pick up the player. But at the same time, how much does he improve Spurs? Is he our starting left winger? Like, I don't know. You tell me. But Mika can come over to Spurs. He's top class. I hear it. I hear it. You got me to subscribe to the New Zealand Future? Hey, we can. My guy. My guy. Big up to R709. What is 709? What is R709? Please tell me. That's a mad, just random put together. But the standard at Tottenham is so low, it's laughable at this stage. Every transfer is the same with meh signings. I suppose Magic Madison's just not happy. Magic Madison is damn sure not happy with Spurs' movement in the window. I think that's one thing that's definitely real. Forget all that. Tell me how Daniel Levy can chat about Premier Champions League when we get to the attacking lineup of Jay, Pusha T, Naruto, and that Ghanaian Roadrunner. We already got Brennan No Johnson. Look, he's not a Ghanaian Roadrunner. Kudus is a very, very good player. Again, if you look at last season, you won't think he's a good player, but look at his numbers and look at his ability across the last few seasons. He is the player that Tottenham need to take this step forward in our attack. He's the type of player that Tottenham need to take into the Champions League. We need more Mavericks. We need someone that can take the game from the scruff of the net. That's what he does. We don't have that in our team currently, but people, make sure you run up the likes. What Neil Gunner says there, or sorry, I should say here. Run up the likes, man. Smash the like, look, as he says there. Nothing has changed at this club. Kudus is rubbish. Yeah, people are really not happy about this Kudus one. Kudus is very coachable. Yeah, I think Kudus is, the way I look at this still, is you've got the opportunity to do with what Frank done with Mbomo. You've got the opportunity to do that with Kudus. Kudus and Mbomo, when you talk about their dribbling and their forward ability to take players on, are very similar. Kudus is definitely better on the dribbling side of things and taking his man on, and Mbomo is the cleaner finisher. But I think under Frank, he can work with Kudus to make his finishing better. He can work with him to... I think the key things for me, and this is where I see the improvement coming in from Frank into Kudus, is his positioning. I think Kudus needs to work on where he picks the ball up, where he focuses most of his energy, and not trying to be at the halfway line running at man. Arriving into the box, into those half spaces, which areas to arrive into. So again, I suppose it's to do with the positioning side of things. And then it's the clinical side of things. Work on with him on his finishing. What types of finishes, the ranges of finishes that you're going for. If you're in a certain area, if you're going to put it into the left-hand post, are you going to put it into the near post, which is a favoured option? I feel like he can work with him on those side of things, as we've seen Mbeumo take those steps forward in his game over the last couple of years, as well as Vissa. So I'm looking at those two options. Even Sharda coming into the team has picked up quite a lot of goals for them. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, nah. This is what Frank is gonna do with Kudus. Frank's gonna take him a step forward. The only reason Kudus is a better option because we don't have a right winger and he's overpriced at all that. Is 60 million overpriced? This is what I don't get. What is overpriced? Because what do you expect on the market? The market is the market right now. If you're comparing him to prices of 10 years ago, you could say he's overpriced. But if you're comparing him to João Pedro, you're comparing him to Semenyo, you're comparing him to Mbeumo, Bino Gittins, players that have been sold this window, he's pretty much at a similar level, if not better than quite a few of those players. So you have to look at him and be like, okay, he's better than some of these players mentioned, and they're going for 55 million. Why would he not go for a similar price? Like we're just not using simple maths and simple logic to say that he's overpriced. It's not making sense. I was never sold on Eze. I have tweets to prove it. Who have you been sold on, Eno? That's the question. Who do you want? I need to know. Give me your transfer. What transfer? What transfer? Who do you want to do? Who do you want to bring in on your transfers? Yeah. Who do you want? You tell me what your ideal transfer window looks like, and then we can talk about the price. Tell me the prices of those players you want, and then also we can talk about whether they're good signings, whether they're good prices. We can talk about that. And you have to realize that not every transfer window you get players for ideal prices. So take that into consideration too. When you're doing these prices, don't say the price that Tottenham will pay or what you're willing to pay. Pay the price of what the player is going to cost. Because what the team that's selling him values at and what the team that's buying him values at are two very different things. Two very different things. But T. Smither says, I'm with you on the Eze thing, bro. People don't watch him week in, week out. He's very inconsistent. That's the thing, like the numbers. It's like everyone comes to talk to me about Kudus' numbers, yeah. Like Eze got some mad numbers. I'm pretty sure last year, look, Eze got in the Premier League last season. He got 8 goals, 8 assists. He didn't do nothing mad. He didn't. His last 2 seasons, he scored more goals. He scored 10 goals 2 years ago, and then 11 goals the year before that. He scored 11 goals last season with less games played, 7 games less played. Literally the same GA. So like Eze, I don't know, man. Like I'm over this Eze stuff. I'm being so real. I'm actually over this Eze stuff. What Kudus comes in with that cold celebration though, that sitting celly fatigues the opponent. The sitting celly is cold. I'm not gonna lie. The sit down celly is definitely cold. Thomas will turn Kudus into a complete proper player. Frank will coach him best. And who do you want to see? You asked me that, and I answered it. Rudra. But yeah, he started it with Bergval. I'd rather build young and go the scouting route. Yeah, see, I'm not on that. We ain't in the years right now of where we can start focusing on building young Elijah, like, because when you start buying Bergval and Archie Gray, and then you say that Bergval's not good enough, and you say Archie Gray's not good enough. I remember in these conversations in like not start of the season, but more like October, November, December times. A lot of Tottenham fans are going mad. They're not good enough. They're not good enough. Why are they starting? But it's like, okay, so we keep signing those types of players, and then Tottenham fans complain. But then when we're trying to sign a proven player, and he's a bit overpriced, they're trying to complain. I'm just like, we're gonna complain either way. But right now we're playing Champions League football. We can't do the young scouting routine. We can't keep going young. And it's different if we're doing what Chelsea are doing, where we're signing bare young players, and one of them are due to hit. So you're going to get a star every now and then. We're signing 2 young players every year when we do this. And when we're signing them, we're not signing the 50, 60 million pound young players, we're signing the 30 to 40 million pound young players. So I don't really know. Durag, how much do you have to spend? I'm confused. Are you only in for play? Well, no. We're not only in for one player. It's one of the cases where we're working on one deal at this moment in time, but that's the only deal that's actually come out. There's been, we know with Spurs in the past, a lot of the times when the deal comes out, it tends to be when the deals are close. So I'd suggest that we're working on multiple deals at this moment in time. Just journalists haven't got knowledge of who we are working on. Kudus better than what we have. Imagine with the injuries we had, but Kudus was fit in our team. We could have been far better. Yeah, no doubt about that. I would agree. Bergval, great. Odobert, Tell are young too. That's the thing. We just signed Tell on the wing. We just signed a young winger. Are we going to sign another young winger? We just signed Odobert and Tell and Yan Min Hyuk in the last 12 months. We signed 3 young wingers. Can we afford? We've done the scouting thing. We signed 3 young wingers from different parts of the world that all are highly touted. Thing with Odobert being from the Premier League, highly touted at Burnley. Had a very good season, and the data leads you to think that he could be a really good player. Tell, Bayern Munich, a lot of clubs wanted him when he was on loan at January. Maybe he hasn't had the greatest of time at Tottenham, but again, if we didn't sign him, someone would have picked him up for that same round price range because he's a highly touted youngster. And then you've got Yan Min Hyuk, yeah, South Korea, albeit maybe hasn't been proven at any level and maybe not highly touted across Europe, but again, a really good young player who could potentially add something in a few years to come. So I'm looking at him like, how many more young players do we need? We've got quite a few at this moment in place. But I know Luke took my place in the spur of the moment because he's more popular. But I need to explain my thought process on your stream one day. No, to be fair, the spur in the moment is what the name is in itself. It's a spur in the moment stream. They sometimes come, they sometimes don't. We started off doing them a Friday 1:30, then the timing wasn't really working, so then I stopped doing them. And then whenever we bring someone on the channel, I'll be honest, it's just the easiest thumbnail to put together, and it's the easiest name. Like, people know the Spur in the Moment show is what it says. It's Spurs in the Moment. So we're always gonna just pop whenever I pop up with the show. That's gonna be the name of the show. It's gonna be the Spurs in the Moment. It's not no specific time frame or anything like that. So yeah, just on that side of things. But now we can jump on the stream now. E. If you actually want to explain it, jump in right now. You know you can get the link. You just have to ask for it. So yeah. But hey, Jords, I am hearing that they're calling the guy Bright. Yeah, this is what I mean. He's definitely not the Ghanaian Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson scores goals because he knows where to get into the right areas. But let me catch up with the chat because I'm actually so far behind. You guys have been active today. Big up Jords in the chat. I want a Gume, Nicolo Ravella. Yeah, these are the players that we said earlier. Kamara, that's another one from Monaco. I don't really see him moving on though. Last season's stats that show Kudus can't take nothing on. That's not true. You just have to look into the FB ref underlying metrics. So I don't know what metrics you are looking at, Jim. If I'm looking at take-ons, I'll go to the strip club, then take him, man, I'm taking Bear Man on. That's mad. That is mad. Going to the strip club to look for man is mad. You're getting mad, John. You're getting mad. You're actually getting mad. Kudus is a £40 million player max. We're also paying extra because he's at West Ham. Also better than who? You heard who I said he's better than. He's better than all the players we have currently in our attack. Literally every single one of them. Kudus will be Tottenham's best attacking player if he comes in. He's not a £40 million player. West Ham brought him for £40 million. And when he was a £40 million player, because you're forgetting that Archie Gray goes for the likes of 40 million. So when he was young and he was brought in at 22 years of age, I think they signed him 37, 38 mil. You have to remember, a club always needs to make a profit on him. I'd say he's a £50 million player. If we're overpaying by like 10 mil. But I don't even think we're overpaying. I think 60 million is the right fee for him, to be honest. I'll be honest. That's for me. Man said Kudus better than Pedro. Yeah, I think Kudus is better than Yao Pedro. Not going to lie. I definitely think he is. Gray and Tell are part of the problem, overpaying for mid players. But you just said you want young players. Young players. Gray and Tell are young. You got to overpay for young players. They're talents, man. Like that. That's what you got to do. You said, you know what, we're going to have to speak about this on the stream. We're going to go through this and I'm going to break it down. Maybe we're going to do just a forget Spurs in a moment. Cooking E, that's going to be the name of the stream. Cooking with E. Cooking with Elijah. Cooking with Elijah. Cooking with Elijah. Hey! Cooking with Elijah. Yo, that's what we're doing. Hey! Cooking with Elijah. That's the name of the stream tomorrow. Yeah, we could definitely we'll do that. We'll do that stream. I'll find the time because I know I've got a few streams tomorrow. We'll find the time to get that in before we record, and we'll record SSN as well. But I was fine with the Takai deal and the Kinski and Bergvall deal, but that's because they're cheap. That's because they're cheap. You're fine with those young players, but they're what you call gems, like diamond. You should know Jay going patchy. What is he? Hello, diamonds in the rough. Yeah, them man are diamonds in the rough for sure. Diamonds in the rough. They're players that you don't really sign very often and find at that price range. If you want to get top youngsters, usually you have to pay a top fee for them. Even Man City are paying a fairly good price for that Savane Pan. He's unproven. He's not known, but diamonds in the rough. You got to do some mad scouting to find these players, and quite often, we have to be honest, is a lot of these players don't work out. Kinski might not work out. Takai might not work out. So you'll be happy with these deals only if they work out. If all of them fail, then what are you doing? Are you going to be happy with them? I don't think so. I don't think so. Same reason we signed Odegaard. This is why you man are happy with Kudus, by the way. But I'm fine with Odegaard right wing instead of spending 60. Nah. The guy, man. You getting mad. Odebert's nowhere near Kudus' level. That's the thing. Odebert's good, but once he gets to the final third, it's like, what are we doing? He's looking around asking people, where am I supposed to go? Kudus knows what he's supposed to do. He knows where their goal is, and he knows how to create. That's the difference between a £60 million winger versus a £25 million winger. And that's where I'm at with it. It's like, Odebert will be good in the 2-3 years. Kudus is good right now. Right now. But I don't know if people did see, there was also other news that was reported yesterday that had a huge impact on our window. Huge impact on our window. Because for those that haven't seen, Bournemouth have announced that Semenyo has signed a new deal and will be staying at Bournemouth until 2030. Now, he may not be staying there up until then, but that's when his contract runs out. It looks like they've signed this new deal, give him a bumper wage, probably insert a release clause into his contract, so next year he could probably go for a fee that Bournemouth are willing to accept. But more than anything, Bournemouth have secured another year of Semenyo's services, and Tottenham cannot make a move on this deal. Now, this is probably another reason as to why Tottenham need to focus on getting this Kudus deal done ASAP, because we now no longer have the option of Eze. We now no longer have the option of Semenyo. These are two players where Semenyo's staying at his current club. Eze looks like he's on the move to Arsenal. We don't have many options outside of Kudus, and Bromo's away. So when you look at the proven Premier League wingers that we were looking at in this window, who we've looked at on this Tottenham transfer news show, we've looked at João Pedro. He's gone to Chelsea. Bino Gittins, he's gone to Chelsea. And Bromo going to Man United. Semenyo staying at Bournemouth. Eze going to Arsenal potentially. All of the Premier League proven options on the wing are no longer available. So for me, when I'm looking at this, it's like, we have to get this Kudus deal done ASAP. If we don't get Kudus, we're going to start looking at Tyler Diblin. That's where we will end up. We will start ending up back at Tyler Diblin, bro. And then people are going to tell me that, oh, we're overpaying for Tyler Diblin. Yes, we're overpaying for Tyler Diblin. He's the bloody only option left at that point. Now, the reason I'm saying Tyler Diblin is because Spurs are clearly looking at Prem-proven players. People have to remember, Prem-proven does mean something in this market. But as we have gone through, there are other players that we could focus on outside of England that can give us a similar level to performance at Kudus for a lower price. You go look at Kenan Yildiz. You go look at Matias Sula. You go look at Igor Pashal. You go look at some of these other wingers. You could probably go get a player at a similar level to similar price range, to the Odeberts, but at a similar level of Kudus. But we can no longer get Antoine Semenyo, people. So that's another deal for another player that we're moving on from that we can no longer get. No longer get. We can't get them. Cooking with Elijah. Cooking with Elijah. All right, that's hey. Oh. Hold on now. Wait a minute. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. But you can ask him if that's what you want. Please. I'm having too much fun with this Zoom now. Big up to Kate and Jimbo in the building, coming in for a quick check-in. I hope you're well, Kate. Let me know if you're happy with the Kudus signing. So I know Kate, me and Kate tend to differ on some of our opinions regarding players and the level of players at Tottenham. But it would be good to know if you do rate this Kudus signing. Because I think you either fall on one end of the stick or the other. A lot of people are either happy with this Kudus signing, or a lot of people are thinking that Kudus isn't good enough for Tottenham, as Magic Madison does. But every season, it's the same thing. I'll give it a month before fans start calling for the manager's head. We are doomed against PSG if we're signing crap like Magic. You know who Magic Madison sounds like? He sounds like Ashley. I know. Yeah, you sound like Ashley. This sounds definitely like Ashley, man. Like, we've got undercover Ashley in the building. I bet you're delighted that Semenyo signed a new deal. He's much better than Kudus. Magic Madison definitely not watched a lot of my shows because you'd see how I feel about a lot of these players if you watch the Tottenham Transfer News show on a daily basis. But if it's your first time checking in, that's fine. Subscribe, tap the post notification bell to stay up to date with more Tottenham transfer news so you would know my opinion on these players. Because I've actually been doing this show for about 5 weeks. We've covered every player that Spurs has been interested in. Every single player. And now you're seeing me recover players because these are players that we maintain an interest in. We get new players, then we can start to cover those new players, but we haven't had any new players' official interest in a while. I'm just saying. I hope you're not saying what I'm saying. No to Kudus. You can't even spell his name properly. So you've got to do the right hashtag with the right name. But Circus channel, mate, clown at, good luck. Yeah, Magic Madison, good luck with you. You know, do your trolling elsewhere. I didn't time you out because I'm not that type of guy. But next time you be talking certain ways, we'll get the delinquents to deal with you. Mr. Udang is definitely, yeah, he's security in the place. Yeah. Mr. Udang's personal security. So you'll get dealt with. You will get dealt with. But I'll be delighted if we sign Kudus. I think he's a very good player. Okay, Kate. Okay, Kate. This is the first time I'm actually seeing you happy about a bit. You know, I'm seeing you happy about a player. No, I'll be lying. I remember you saying you would have liked Eze as well. I think some of these players that we have been interested in this window seem to be a step forward from the players that we were interested in last window. But at the same time, it always starts this way for Tottenham. It always starts like, hey, it always starts like we're interested in. I remember last year it was Conor Gallagher, it was Eze. It was interested in these types of players that you could be happy with, and then you start to fall out, and it's like, oh, we ended up with option D or E. Now, in this window so far, it looks like Kudus probably is option C or B already, but I think Kudus is still a very good option. So when you're going from A, B, C, D, E, it's like we got Eze, Kudus, Semenyo, and Buemo. It's like all of the options are good at similar levels. Usually there's a big drop in between the levels. So, yeah, look, I remember you saying you probably would have preferred Eze, but you rate Kudus. Man said he got gone. Him down and missing him gone. Hey, Madison, don't blame me, innit? The security guard said you got, you know when you've seen like Kai Sinat or Neons or one of them security guards just come in and bang someone in the face for moving a bit too mad. Like, that's my security done. Like, you can't sue me, sue my security, innit? You know them ones there? Like, it wasn't me, bro. It wasn't me. They just come in and back my thing, which, good job, man. You know, one of them ones? But no, we do agree. We agree. Just not on the point of Eze. I wouldn't have preferred Eze, but I think they're all at a similar level. So when I'm saying like Semenyo, Eze, and Buemo, Kudus, I would have been happy with either or of these players. That like you can make good pros and cons for either of the signings. But always getting our fourth choice for first choice prices. Yeah, we get them in and around the same prices, I'm not gonna lie, but last year we went from Neto at 60 million pounds or 50 million pounds to Odegaard at 25 million pounds. So that's not always the truth, but definitely the truth around getting our third or fourth options. But I can't lie, if we get Kudus and Xavi Simons, what you man saying for that window, then I can't lie. People know that I've been watching me, yeah? Can't lie. Oh, the stars look like they're aligning, and I said from weeks ago, that Xavi Simons is my preferred option over Eze and Semenyo because I see the potential and the quality that he has. I'd probably say more on the potential side of things is way higher. Now, I don't know if Spurs are going to go out there and sign two players in the similar positions at the same price point because Xavi Simons is going to command at least 200k a week, and he's also going to command 60 to 70k a week on 60, 70 million, for the transfer fee. So when I'm looking at that and I'm saying, are Spurs going to go do two of these deals? Probably not. But if we went and got that, that's already an 8 out of 10 window for me. already. We just need to start signing some depth players. But our squad, for me, has already taken leaps and bounds forward in that attack with Kudus and Xavi Sim. Serious attackers right there. That's serious Jogo Benito. Yeah, like I can really see that working out. I'm not gonna lie, I can see that working out, but I don't think it's gonna happen. But he's definitely not fourth choice. He's not okay. That's Elijah's just doing Elijah things. So Elijah doing Elijah things. Arsenal have made an offer to Chelsea for Noni Madueke. Yes, we have seen that. Apparently, Arsenal fans are all trying to make out that, oh, we've not made an offer, nothing's official. They've commented all under my video crying because I spoke about it. But Plettenberg quite literally confirmed that he's high on Arsenal's target list. And also, we've been seeing this for weeks and months that Arsenal have an interest in Noni Madueke. So he may go to Arsenal. Arsenal fans are all in denial right now, trying to act like Arsenal don't want him. When you do want this guy, you're looking for a backup option for Saka. This is one of the options. Like, this is just quite frankly it. Like, don't be mad at me for just sharing the news. Be mad about your manager for having a bad talent ID yet again. Your manager's just got bad talent ID. And that's the thing. Arsenal fans sitting there complaining about everyone talking about it. But you guys are literally going in for him. You're quite literally going in for him. But he is fourth choice from Mbeumo to Semenyo to Eze to Kudus. But that's not right, Elijah, because you're saying that we've moved on from Mbeumo to Semenyo to Eze. But the reports actually come out have suggested that Tottenham didn't have a close enough interest, and talks actually weren't progressing with an Eze deal. Apparently, Spurs weren't that in for him. We're keen on him, but we've called our interest on him, but never actually went in for a deal with him. For Mbeumo, it's come out and said that Tottenham inquired regarding him, but they made it very clear that he wanted Man United, so we couldn't go in for that deal. Semenyo signed a new deal, so it's probably a case of, again, we turned down the option to sign Semenyo because they wanted 65 to 70 million pounds from, which we made it very clear we wouldn't pay. So we've gone to our, you're saying our fourth choice, but no, we've looked at four options and we've just come to the point that Kudus is probably the best option of the four. Maybe away from Mbeumo. If Mbeumo said yes to Tottenham, then it probably would have been Mbeumo. But between Semenyo, Eze, and Kudus, it's that Kudus is the best option for the price at 60 million pounds we're willing to pay. So he's better than Semenyo. Definitely better than Semenyo. But Elijah, if not Kudus right wing, who do you want? You know, we're going to go through that. I'm not going to even get that out of Elijah in the chat because we're going to cooking with Elijah. Tomorrow, we're going to do a cooking with Elijah. And we're going to see what time that is. So make sure you tap the post notification bell to stay up to date as to when that live will be. Because we're not sure at the moment. We'll have to put together schedules and see time. Bro pulled out all the buzzwords, all that to say that this is the fourth person we've looked at. But that's not the truth, though, Elijah. Because if you know how scouting works, you look at multiple players at multiple times to have multiple scouts. Throughout that time, what happens is you get all those scouting reports, you come to a transfer meeting where you discuss those players. When you discuss those players, you're going to put conditions on certain ones of these players. Say, we're only going to sign this player if we do so on forth. We're only going to sign this player if he comes at this price. We only sign this player if so forth. So all of these factors you have to take into consideration when going for each of these deals. Each of these deals we were looking at simultaneously because I've seen the Kudus links from 3 or 4 weeks ago. So Tottenham have looked at all these deals, evaluated. Semenyo's not worth 65 million pounds. We were never going to pay that. So he's signed a new contract. That's not Tottenham aren't able to get him, and Tottenham have been turned down. Tottenham have turned down the opportunity to sign him for that price that they value him at. Eze, again, Tottenham didn't proceed with that deal due to a multitude of reasons, but one of them may be that other clubs are more interested in him and he probably would have favoured other clubs, but also for the price range of 68 million pounds or 320 million pound installments, Tottenham didn't want to pay that. And we didn't sign him last year. Ange Postecoglou turned down the opportunity to sign him last year. There must have been a reason why that was the case. We opted for without him. And Mbeumo is simple. He doesn't want to come to Tottenham, so you can't go get a player that doesn't want to come to Tottenham. So whether he's your third, second, or third or fourth choice, he doesn't want to come to Tottenham. So you just invalidate that and say, look, he's not coming here. It's quite simple. But look at that and bidding. Looking at and bidding are totally different, Elijah. And that's the thing. Who Tottenham bid for are very like Tottenham are only going to bid for the players that actually they think they can get a deal done for. Apparently, we've already bid for Kudus, and apparently he's the only player we've bid for in the forward line. So when you're saying that, like, oh, yeah, we went from first choice to fourth choice, but we didn't bid for any of these other players. We've only bid for Kudus. So I don't know. Again, you got to take all these facts into consideration, E, but you tell me, if Tottenham bid for a team, wouldn't that be their first choice? Wouldn't you only bid for the player that you believe you can? Wouldn't you only bid for your number one option? But Tottenham have genuine interest in Mohamed Kudus, and he's high on the list for the summer. Yeah, this is literally Matt Law. This is what Fab was tweeted. Yeah, it's just like this is the one from earlier. And it's funny how they all say this, like he's high on the list. Madueke is high on the list for Arsenal. Like, we all know who the fucking list is. It's usually 4 or 5 players, and all the players have been mentioned. If we come out of another player, that's simply because Spurs are doing Spurs things and just popping up with random deals at random times, because that's just what Spurs do. So we'll have to see about that. But people, we are going to wrap it up there, because I'm going to be heading over to Never a Foul to jump on and talk some more transfers before we head out for the day. Make sure you keep an eye out for all the videos that are being dropped, because we've got constant stuff dropping throughout the day, in the morning, all scheduled up and stuff. So make sure you got the post notification bell to stay up to date with all of the lives, all of the streams, all of the videos and uploads that are coming out at the moment. And yeah, man, look, people, make sure you drop a like on the stream on your way out. We're currently on 24 likes. Let's see if we can get this up. Everyone in the stream should have liked it by now, because if you didn't, so I'll your mom. No, I'm joking. But ultimately, show some love, show your support. Comment on the stream after it's done if you're still here. I'm going to send you guys over to Fam Zone TV to go support up the man. Them go drop a DRD raid in their chat. Go let them know that D-Gal, or do you know what? Forget that. What? Drop a D-Gal in the chat. Just go D-Gal raid. Yeah, D-Gal raid in the chat. Drop a D-Gal raid in the chat. Let's rattle him a little bit. Yeah, people. Until next time, we will be back. And Durag Diaries. Yeah, man. We're out. Love.